Hello everyone, and welcome to this Creatures 3 Let's Play. First things first, I'll just zoom in. This game is from 1999 and the early 2000s, so there are some issues around recording, but we'll make it work. So first up, we'll start with creating a new world. This is Creatures 3 and Docking Station, so I'll call the world Titan. You'll see that we can play on Capillata only, or have it docked with the Creatures 3 Shee starship. What a name. I hope I pronounced all of that correctly. But for this version we'll have Docking Station and this Shee starship together. I'm going with Titan because I recently rewatched Titan AE, sci-fi movie from the early 2000s in which the ship is called the Titan. So we can either start with a couple of pre-trained adult Norns. These are the creatures. Pre-trained just means that they understand commands and can speak English. I'm just gonna have the egg layer lay us some eggs. Here we are in the docking station part of the ship. So we can see that the first egg is already hatching. This is the inventory, so you can use this to carry things through the different environments. And this is the first look at our little creature. The red arrow indicates that he is selected, and the green arrow just indicates to the player what they are focused on. So now we can see he's focused on the hand, and then his focus goes back to his toy. You can also spank them to stop negative behavior. Let's just turn the game music off. Here we can export and import creatures, so this means that they just sort of go into a suspended animation mode until you're ready to bring them back into the game. The cracked egg icon just points to when a birth happens, so you could be in another part of the ship and then you can click on this. The help agent is there, so you can use this on anything that you see on screen, and if it's an agent or something that has an explanation, you can read up on what it does and what it's used for. So you see I click on this and then it produces some sort of peanut, and since I'm not sure I can click on it and now it tells me that it's just a nut pod. These elevators are used to transport the creatures from one level to another, so you can use this or they can use this to get around the ship. These buttons are used to lock the doors so that the creature's Ettins or Grendels can't open it. And now we'll use the elevator to go to the main ship. You can see this is just to show that it's connected to the Shee Ark. So in this area we can monitor what's going on in the ship with these floating video cameras, and enabling the three icons will show us live on the map if any other creatures hatch or appear on the ship and where they are. This is the medical bay area of the ship, so here you can inject and monitor your creatures to see if they're in good health. These are teleporter machines, so if I enable one in 2 different rooms and activate it, then I can teleport the creature. Something has hatched. This one is called an Ettin, so they're neutral on the ship. Their main purpose is just to walk around, move items around, clean up the ship and make sure that everything is running as expected. You can also control shift-click to carry Norns, Ettins and Grendels around. So I'm just going to put him here in this. It's a sort of jettison bay. Anything, if you press this green button, anything is jettisoned out into space and immediately destroyed. I'll just leave him some food here, so let's get some cheese. So these are all the different terrariums that the creatures can live in. This is another admin side of the ship. So this system is used to inject different agents into the world. This is the splicer machine. More on this in episode 3, but you can use it to combine different creatures together. Another jettison bay. And the replicator is used to copy anything that you can add into this. You can even copy creature eggs in this system, but not live creatures, grendels and ettins. Since we've already been in the desert world where the ettin was born, we can go to the desert terrarium. There's a lot to do in each of the terrariums. So for example, here I'll have the volcano erupt. And the world is dynamic, so if I drop the hot stone into water, it immediately cools down. Here you can see one of the monitoring cameras. This is the egg layer for ettins. And this is the climate portal, so you can set the temperature and the humidity of the world. Here we can see an ettin egg has been laid, so if I pick up this egg, it seems that it's already, you have a short window to pick up the eggs. Otherwise, once they start hatching, you can't pick them up anymore, and you have to wait until the creature has hatched. So I see actually both of them are female. With the top left corner, you can see the little icon pointing down is the symbol for female. You can click here and name them. This is especially important when you have multiple generations, because all of them are connected. You can see when they were born, you can take different pictures of them. So especially if you have hatched a very unique creature, then you can take pictures and record all of the data around them. And these genetic markers, this will come later in the game, but you can also modify them to have different traits. You can even breed them. If you breed different creatures with enough trial and error, you can have them live underwater even. Going to the Norn terrarium. So this is actually the landing screen. If you just play Creatures 3, you'll start the game right here. You can choose different eggs to be produced here. So the nice thing about Docking Station and Creatures 3 is you get a lot of different ones. In the original Creatures 3 game, you just got 3 different breeds of creatures. In this room, you teach the creature language. So you leave them in this room and they learn different commands that you can then, so you can command them and interact with them. When they're born, they just speak creature gibberish. These icons you can also use to quickly navigate between the different rooms. There's also the graveyard. So here you can register deaths and do a short explanation of why the creature died. And then you can also, once you've registered them, you can go and read their registered death history. I usually like to put the hawk here, otherwise they end up carrying and eating all the pigs, and let's also just close off the room and take all of the wildlife so that it stays outside. So here we can control the environmental settings for the specific room. There's a lot of toys and things to interact with in the room, so whenever you're playing this game, I would highly recommend just click on everything, because everything has a function or a purpose, and there's always something new to explore and discover. And with the agent creator that I showed previously, you can inject a lot more things into the world as well. So there's like a sludge gun to fire at Grendels. This is a seed bank, so whenever your world is running low, you can recycle items to gain bioenergy, and then you can generate more things. I just produced an apple. This teleporter takes creatures to the medical bay, so if they're sick you can just take that to the creature and you can just teleport them to the room. This disperses clouds. You'll see sometimes it rains in this terrarium, so that's where it comes from. Starch. This is a food source for the creatures. So using this, you can link different agents to each other. So this is a creature detector. And if I set it to Norn and then connect it to the teleporter, when a Norn walks past this now, it will activate the teleporter automatically. So everything that has these two little circle icons can be connected together. Next one is the jungle terrarium. This is eventually where the Grendels will be born. They're aggressive and sort of the threat in the game. You can control the humidity and temperature. You can see it's quite a moody and dark room. I've never known about this stone, so even I learned something new by clicking around. There's a seed bank to generate the items in this world, and the piranha tank, so whenever you don't like anything, you can just open the breach and the piranhas will start eating it. This counts for naughty Norns, Ettins and Grendels as well. There's also these doors that go between worlds, so you don't have to always use the main portals. This is the ocean biome. So as I said previously, you can eventually, with enough trial and error, you can even breed Norns that can breathe underwater. There's an egg bay here, so you can select how many eggs, and then it disperses them into this safe area, because you can see on opposite sides there's sharks in the one and jellyfish in the other, so they'll eat the little eggs and baby fish. You can also flood rooms. Take your Norn for a swim. You can also use the elevator to get them down into the water and back up again. I can take a few of these fish and put them here, and then I can feed them, and if I leave them here, we'll get back to this later, you'll see they'll actually keep on living here and reproducing. So the whole world is very much alive and interactive. We can also see one of the yellow fish is sort of disappearing. That's the animation for when they die off. This is a detector, so you can use this again connecting the agents. If I put that with the other machine together and I leave it in the water, then as soon as it detects that the population of the fish has dropped off, it will produce food to feed them. Let's just check in on our two little Ettins, and maybe I should give them some more food. Not that healthy, just living off a cheese diet. A quick look at the docking station. So this room, the game used to be online. Here, the first screen is just a detailed explanation of all of the agents that you can inject into the room and what they do. So you can download more of these from the internet, and it gives a whole new angle to the game because you can introduce different rooms as well, and different creatures that was created by the communities, which is still very much alive today, even though this game launched in 1999. The others is just when you would chat online in the past, but the servers have long since gone offline, so none of this is working anymore. And then we can also see the screens on the right hand side. This is just the cameras that you can move physically in the room, or you can move them around with this button to monitor what's going on in each of the rooms. This room was used to send creatures to different players. So if you had some interesting ones that you've created, you could come in here and you could connect to your friend's world and ship them off. And then this is another medical bay that was introduced with docking station. Let's check on our little two Ettins. We can put them in the medical bay, and there's so much to cover here, but basically you can monitor different things like health, respiratory, reproduction. We can see here, even though this is female, she has no testosterone, but if I were to go to the injections and here cycle through the different ones, so you can inject them if they're having low starch or if they need more fatty acids, you can inject this. Obviously you should be very careful here, because if you inject something with too much cholesterol, they can die. For example here, so I can inject her with testosterone, and then if we go back to the monitoring, we can see that she, even though she's female, under the male side, she now registers as having 75% testosterone in her system. This machine just monitors a single specific one at a time, so if she were to walk past it while it's set on energy, it would give the readout for the energy level that she has. This is the pregnancy indicator, so if you think they're pregnant, you can have them close by to the system and then it'll indicate their pregnancy. I just quickly want to check if no Grendel eggs have been laid. Sort of hidden, but there's a doorway connecting the two terrariums here as well. So I can use the agent help even on creatures and critters, and it'll give them their names, what they do, so you can see if they're a threat to your Norns and Ettins. Here we can see the two yellow dots indicate that there are two creatures in the hull of the ship. We can also use chaos commands, which is sort of the cheat codes. Creatures, I believe, was written in a language CAOS, and this command teaches them English, or, well, interface English. You can see it just said it's extremely bored, and I can interact with them now. We can see they're focused on each other. So now if they're extremely bored, we can go get them some toys. Let me just quickly give this one a name. Let's go with Amy. So Amy and Jessica. Let's go get them some toys. This should keep them busy. They're very focused on this door, but they really don't want to press that button because they will be jettisoned into space and immediately die. This machine dispenses different useful potions and wine, so your creatures can definitely get drunk as well. Another thing is you can train them through positive and negative reinforcement, so scratching their head and tickling them tells them they've done good, and then spanking them obviously tells them you've been bad. I'll go get them some different food because I can't keep on feeding the poor things cheese all the time. Get them some starch as well. Oh, that dropped through. I'll just pick some up. Here's something different for you to eat, and you can see they immediately focus on their food. They like to eat. You can see they're starting to grow as well because the one is slightly bigger than the other one. They've got several different life stages. We'll just circle back here to see no Grendel egg. Here we can see the piranha population have grown. Get them something to eat. I missed it. So here, this is what the Grendels look like. They're basically the threat in the game, highly aggressive, and they will just hit your Norns until they die. You can breed Grendels, Norns, and Ettins. It takes a lot of patience. As I said, the Grendels are quite aggressive, but this leads to some varied genetic appearances. We'll get into this later in the game. Let's quickly teach it English. For now, I'm just going to export this out of the world. We'll bring it back later. That was a quick overview of the ship and the functionality. We definitely did not get around to everything, but in the next episode we'll hatch 2 creatures and then take a look at the game mechanics around raising, interacting and breeding creatures.